Saving lives with throwing knives. Is it possible to do it in real life like they showed in the Expendables? Which knives and techniques they use? We're gonna figure it out everything today. So, let's get started. So I know exactly which knife they used in the movie, and it was kunai by United Cutlery, specially designed for that movie. You maybe think like, oh, this is really badass since Jason Statham killed so many guys in that movie, but my friend RC Samples, the combat knife thrower, actually tested knife many years ago and it was total crap. Really bad steel, and he was able to break it very soon.
Broken.
So basically they had this version of the kunai, but a little bit longer and a little bit heavier. That's really good for the throwing, but it's really not so good for the proper techniques and the combat knife throwing, because usually these knives are so light they can rebound from the target and the penetration is minimal. The historical kunai, look at the comparison. It looked like this. It was basically farming tool for digging in the garden, poking holes into the wall, and the throwing was basically like a last resort. So you can clearly see the comparison is way different. And if we talk about the modern times, if I would have to pick and use in the movie some kunai, I would have some like a professional version, like we have this one by the Exependables, and this would have way bigger penetration power, and of course you can see it's way thicker material, so heavier and longer. We can show you a little comparison of the penetration right now. Come on. So which technique they used in the movie? It was spin throwing with the hammer grip. So just like that. Fingers wrap around the handle, and after you aim on the target, pull your arm to the back, and with the movement forward you're gonna release the knife naturally and it will make 360 spin into the target. Usually the distance for the proper one spin is about 3.5 meters. All right, so let's try it. Perfect throw on the first try. Really amazing. Look at that. Very deep penetration, almost like the first throw in the movie when he hit him into the ear. It was a little bit crazy. I don't think you would be able to scream after that since it was so deep. But there is a huge mistake in the movie, guys. Since they are using the spin throwing technique, you have to be standing on sweet spot where you figure it out the 360 rotation from the target. Because if my enemy is just one step closer and I want to do the same technique, look at that. Whoa, the knife will over-rotate. And if I would be a little bit further back, for example on 4 meters, here we have the 3, the sweet spot, the knife will over-rotate. So you can see right away this is very big problem for the combat, all right? But kunai like that with such a big ring is really uncomfortable for the spin throwing. The grip, it's really not good. So if you are going for the knife throwing competition and you see spin throwers, they have usually big heavy blades. For example, like we have these spinner bowies by Exependables. Because for spin throwing, the heavier, the bigger blade, it's way better. It's easier to see if it's under-rotated or over-rotated when it's spinning, and also the grip, it's way more comfortable compared to the ring that's on the kunai, all right? So otherwise, it's everything totally same like I showed you. The aim, pull back, and let it slide. Distance, if you will have the bigger blade, you will have to do maybe a little step back, all right? So let's figure it out if I can do this on the first try. Perfect stick right away. So in this case, even the other knives should be sticking, no problem. There you go. So I can show you one thing. We have actually 3 examples. This is perfect. So on this one, the knife was under-rotated. This is a little bit over-rotated. And this is the perfect stick what you want. So in the movie, you will usually only see these perfect sticks. But there is a huge flaw in this technique, and especially in the combat throwing. I will explain. So I already mentioned this before. Technique like that, do it in the combat scenario, is super tough, nearly impossible. Because, like I said, when you are on the sweet spot, everything is easy. The knife will usually stick. But if you are closer or further back, it's very complicated and super tough. But it's possible. So for the shorter distances, it's the totally same technique, but you have to hold the knife a little bit on the end of the handle, and you have to snap the knife a little bit more. Even more. And there you go. So this is how you adjust on the shorter distances. And if you go on the longer distances, you will grab it a little bit higher, so you will slow down rotation. Let's try it if you can do it on the just within the few tries. So here was the sweet spot. I'm going a little bit further back, and let's see if we can still have one rotation. Under rotated, so I could be even further. And perfect stick. So you can see, even on the first and even on the second attempt, I didn't do it on the first try. Usually with the spin throwing, you have to adjust if you don't know the distance. So this shows you that in the movie, this technique is absolute nonsense. And in the one scene, there is one kind of realistic throw. So Jason Statham, he's basically like a turning around, and he throws from short distance, about 3 meters, perfect throw right into the neck of the enemy. And that's kind of realistic because the advantage of the spin throwing is the high accuracy. So if you are actually on short distance, on your sweet spot that we talked about before, it was about 3.5 meters, you could be super accurate. So let's see if we can hit the head within the 2 tries. Look at that. I hit the mouth. Wow, look at that. So I was aiming right into this neck area, and look at that. We have 2 devastating hits. So like I said before, these heavy bowies by H-Jet have high penetration power since they are so heavy and long. So look at that. Wow. You can only imagine if that would hit uncovered part of the body, it would be devastating, because here we are stopped by the wood. So this shows you that the penetration with throwing knives could be really, really high, but you need to have the right tools for it, and of course, perfect technique. In the movie, you can see Jason Statham also throw from longer distances. It seems that it was double spin. In the competition, like I said, the one spin is on about 3 meters, 3.5, and 2 spin is around 5 meters. So we can try a little experiment if we can stick it. Under rotate it, so maybe a little step back. And we got it. So you can see when you figure it out the spot, you can stick it no problem, even with a double spin and on the longer distance. But again, you see, I had to adjust my spin rotation. And on the last throw, Jason Statham is trying to save the hostage, but this one is really impossible because he hit perfectly with the point first, but his opponent is running away. So if your target is also moving and you are moving as well, the spin rotation is very, very difficult to stick. So we can try some few throws on the moving. That was over-rotated. Come on, let's do it again. Come on, we have to save it. Wow. Whoa! Again, another rebound. Maybe I can save her on the last attempt. Come on, let's go, guys. Whoa! Not even single stick, and I really try to stick it. So this shows you that spin throwing is definitely for the setup distances, not for the moving. Today you were able to see that spin throwing for the combat scenario totally sucks. No spin is way better. So if you want to learn that one, check out my tutorials. And if you want to support the channel, there's going to be a link for these aged knives. But for today, that's it. So thank you, buddy, for watching. Share, like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time.